Alright, Outcast, this is a continuation from the video on banking UGG while I'm out and about that had ended prematurely due to my pixel storage and memory being full. I thought I had erased it or moved enough videos, but I didn't, so I'll have to do that later. Learning curve. I'm early back into all this content creation, so I appreciate your patience as I spin up and get up to speed and make these practice videos in the next week or two. But we'll get it dialed in for sure. So another story was from a All Things Farmersville post, and a couple was needing to make rent, needed $300 on Sunday, and that was the day I moved into my new pad, my new location, my homestead, and I needed a plumber to come assess plumbing damage in a line that runs about 200 yards. And so I called them out, had their service, got their expertise. They provided some insights that I hadn't considered before that could be the possible problem or issue with the pipe. And they came out that afternoon. I paid them the $300 for their site visit. They also assisted me with an electrical troubleshooting that I was having as I arrived based on my failure to check and double check the utilities that I had coming in. So they assisted with that. Well worth the $300 I spent, and they were in dire need, and I hope I was able to help them come through that. But on the surface, this economic environment we're in seems to be good. Restaurants are full. It seems like all times of meal hours, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which I don't understand at all. You know, the amount of new huge trucks being driven around, and how these businessmen and women are affording the fuel to drive these gas guzzlers. I just don't get it. My understanding of the economic environment, especially in the credit space, is the American consumer has the tightest credit card debt ever. There's also the fact, best I can assume, that the most vehicles, especially trucks, are in repossession today than ever. I think it's like 1.3 million, maybe. Saw a video this morning talking about that. So the signs are everywhere that we're headed into a steep recession, or are already in it, and or heading into a depressionary environment. We have been my generation, I'm Gen X, 1980 baby, so very on the very tail end. Most Gen Xers say, you're not Gen X, you're a whatever comes next. I don't know. But I'm Gen X through and through. I've always liked hanging out with the older crowd. And I see things like Gen X's see things. I drank out of the water hose when I was a kid. I was locked outside all day when I was a kid. You know, I grew up in the countryside, graduated from Farmersville. So I've got some sort of clue. Now, I don't brag about this and I don't care to share it, but I do because I believe it gives credence to what I'm saying. I studied an MBA content, got awarded an MBA degree. Also studied global supply chain and logistics, and specifically the energy industry and the transmission and distribution electricity sector within the energy industry. So I've got the background, knowledge, vocabulary, and rudimentary understanding from those experiences, as well as my last 5 years of really learning this stuff backwards and forwards. And I don't know it as well as most experts might know it, but I know it pretty damn good. And what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling is looping back around to the bank. So the bank offered 0.1%, 0.15%, and 0.25%, I think, for checking account balances of $1,000 and $1,500 and $50,000, $50,000 respectfully. And I replied to her, what idiot is going to take any of those deals? And she didn't crack a smile. But do you know that whenever you deposit your money into the bank, you are then an unsecured creditor to the bank? They own those dollar notes. They're no longer yours. That's why they're paying you a pathetic interest rate. But it's in their custody, and they don't have to give you those back. If that bank has trouble, or that banking group has trouble, they can bail in your dollars and keep them to themselves and issue you shares that will eventually become worthless within 2 or 3 years. So just poof. FDIC insured all that nonsense, which the FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, it's only got like 1.5 or 2% of coverage for all the depositors that are out there. So I encourage everyone that if you don't know what I'm talking about, to begin to learn. Because if you don't understand or want to care for your most valuable, precious resource, which is your time now, and your stored time, which comes in the form of the US dollar currency, right? That's what you store your time in. You also store your time in things that you buy. All the stuff you've got laying around the house, your paid off vehicles, like all that stuff most likely cost you money to get, but it costs you time to acquire it. And probably in the form of both time and in savings of currency, right, in dollars. So, I'm a big advocate because I didn't know jack squat. I thought I was a financial guru up until 2020, 2021 time frame, after I graduated from that last degree program in Washington, D.C. I didn't know jack squat because I didn't know what money was. I didn't know what currency was. I didn't know what baseline. I didn't understand percentages at all. I didn't know what the cost of money was. I didn't know what a 1/10 of a percentage point is, or what it means, or why it matters, right? I didn't know anything that I needed to know. And what really got me upset with the banking industry was looking all the way back to when I was 17 or 18 years old, and that banker at the time encouraged me to open an IRA, individual retirement account, save for later, and save for retirement. It's all bullshit. This idea that we've been sold on retirement, like maybe I'm the third generation that's been conned into believing anything about retirement to let somebody else hold on to our hard-earned, stored time in the form of money and currency, so that they can give us more later. It's a bunch of hog shit. It's not true. It's deceitful. I mean, just a look at the corporations got rid of pensions in the 70s and early 80s, I believe it was, and convinced everyone to get the 401ks, which Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki and his crew, they call it 401 chaos, which it is. If you're a professional white-collar folk that have 401ks and been in multiple companies, how many 401ks you got out there that you haven't managed and pulled forward with you or brought under one umbrella after you left that company? My guess is 85 or 90% of you left it behind. You haven't even looked at it. See, I took my thrift savings plan, which is kind of a 401k equivalent with no matching in the military. I cashed mine in before I got out of the service. I moved it to another retirement plan. Then I did something else with it after that. That is my own retirement plan, and I'll get into that at some point, maybe down the road. What are y'all's thoughts on this? I mean, this is something I am passionate about. When I was trying to save everybody but myself, back when I was getting out of the military, and I was starting a YouTube channel and content creator and trying to get my brethren to wake up, which they won't and they can't. It's impossible to do. I was trying to preach about this stuff, and I probably knew a fifth then about it than I know now. I think I knew enough to be educating on it, but I know a lot more now than I did then, just based on time, experience, and repetition of learning about it and exploring different rabbit holes. So my point is, everything you think you know, it might not be so. if you don't know where to start, turn to me. All right, I will do my best to answer questions and from the chat and get on here and look at who I'm subscribed to as well, because that's who I learned from. George Gammon, Mark Moss, Robert Kiyosaki, the Economic Ninja, Uneducated Economist Simon out there in Washington State. Let's see, Neil McCoy Ward over in Britain. Mario Maneko 64 out of England. The Market Sniper over in South Africa. Let's see, Market Sniper's name. Francis Hunt. Who else? Man, there's dozens and dozens of people that I've listened to over the last 5 years. Momentum Structural Analysis with Oliver, I forget his last name. Steve Penny with the Silver Chartist, 100%. My Canadian friend, who I'm subscribed to his service for index fund investing. Chris Vermillion. Heresy Financial. Like, the list goes on. That's the stuff I listen to when I'm not working on my own goals and efforts. Like, that's what I do. Yeah, I'll get on Facebook and share some funny stuff that I come across that resonates with me, or some serious stuff, sage advice, right, with the Stoics. But I'm always learning in the background, and that's the commonality between me and these mentors of mine, who some I've shaken their hands and other I haven't. Lynette Zane, who I met through ITM trading and at George Raymond's Rebel Capitalist Live conferences. She was another huge influence on things I'm saying today. What else? I need to go clean all my resources up that I've used so that it's a nice, clean, tidy. And the thing is, they build on each other, right? Some of these folks are experts, and if you don't know the vocabulary or have some idea about the space, you'll be lost starting out. So I need to create a structured ladder of, hey, here's how I would do it if I did it again. And what got me started on it was Mike Maloney, right? The Hidden Secrets of Money, his 10-part series, which was available for free on Amazon back in 2020. I think you got to pay for it now if they haven't just wiped it away at all, because he lives in the Cayman Islands. He's a big hard money advocate, sound money advocate. Hard money, sound money being precious metals, right? Or some sort of commodity you can measure, like barrels of oil or grain, pounds of grain, tons of grain, right? So these people, huge influence on my life. And I started by reading the book The Creature from Jekyll Island. That's what started me on it, after my economics course in the Master of Science program just left me like with my jaw dropped, going, there's something not right here. There is something not right about what is going on. And they taught not an Austrian economics view, but a Keynesian economics view of the world and economics. And that's why I couldn't make the ends meet on what she was teaching me. And she couldn't answer my questions either. And I said, this is a house of cards. And she just looked at me like a damn horn was growing out of my head. And the rest of the class was like, shut the hell up. Other 05 and 06 officers, you know, they're just punching clocks trying to make rank to that flag level. And, you know, just wanting to get through the day and get the hell out of there. And I was curious. And one of my professors said I was one of the most insightful students he had ever had in that institution, because I was an outcast. It makes me remember apparently the Naval Academy grads, those ivory tower snots, they referred to guys like me who graduated from OCS as the trash, and the ROTC folks were the ash. And they were the shit because they went to the U.S. Naval Academy. There's a lane closure. Now, guys like Alvin McCraven, okay, give him a pass, right? He seems like a really true, good leader. They probably didn't refer to guys like me as ash and trash. But yeah, once I learned that, you know, it was pretty disappointing, disheartening, and that's why I'm happy to provide my services to the OCS graduates out there who probably don't know what they need to know in order to make it through the ranks and promote in that system, because you gotta have some inside scoops. I got lucky a couple of times by just having to having stumbled across the right information at the right time in order to make my record be one of the best there was to promote. And I promoted on time and selected early for 05 by a year, because I was like the bottom. I was in like the bottom 2 of the end zone group, but early by a year. So my record shouldn't have made it, and it did. It stood on its own. But anyways, I'm kind of rambling on all that. But I care. I give a shit. I swore to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And the domestic threat has been our greatest enemy, probably for the majority of my life, and I didn't know it. Because we always hear we're a democracy, which we're not. We're in a democratic republic, so we're in a republic, a democratic one, right? But not a democracy. And we're always told about the foreign threats, right? Illegal aliens, China, Russia, freaking Iran. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Look who the asshole is. The asshole is Uncle Scan. S-C-A-M, Uncle Scan. And I'm going to prove to you why. So anyways, that's long enough for this video. No good audio. I wasn't able to get my audio set up, so it's just the regular audio. Hope you can forgive me for that. If you can't, go find another channel. I don't care. It's whatever, man. Alright, let's stay weird together. To your liberty. The Outcast Commander is out.